We are day one in Canberra, Cockington Green car park, and the iconic Tudor style home, which is the entry to the park. So we're about to see things in miniature. Getting in, I noticed the beautiful roses, and I thought, hey, I would love to see these. So I'm just going to record the roses as we walk in. So let's go down the path. Yeah, there's the visitors information. And display entrance this way. And we've just been through the entrance, and this is the rear of that Tudor manor. And the great thing is, looks like there might be plenty of seating around for me, so that's looking good. And in the back here, since it's everything mini, of course they've got a little pink coloured mini in the back there. And if we turn around, we've got various things in that direction. We've got the kangaroo and the emu, of course, for the Australian coat of arms, and naturally, because of the time of the year, all dressed up with Santa hats. And then we've got the start of our tour, starting off with this particular house, Canberra House. So there you go. And coming around this side, we have a lovely display with miniatures included, and this is called Cockington Village. Its location is in Torquay in Devon, and yeah, it's the village after which this park is named. And as you can see, there is a lot to see. Thank you. Now, I'm not going to be able to record everything, but certainly these first few stunning areas are absolutely wonderful. It's a hung farmhouse, apparently. Kent mostly. And of course, what village would not be complete without a village green on which they're playing a game of cricket. And aside from this magnificently giant lamb that's really very much out of place with the miniatures, we also have the parish church, of course, the village church. Don't know how much you can see in the shade, but this is the timbered house, half timbered house. Yeah, found mostly, apparently, in southern England. And then what they call the black and white house. And over the other side, we've got some Cornish cottages, favoured obviously by the miners, the Cornish miners. In fact, there are plenty of places in South Australia with Cornish cottages as well, modelled on a similar theme. Now this is apparently the Fitzwilliam's Arms Hotel, and I'll have to ask my dad what period this is, because I'm looking at those bikes. That's fairly recent, so it's not a ancient setting there, but there we go. And of course, moving further along, we have a country manor estate with tennis courts, even a little lonely gardener down the front there. So this is a period house around Sussex. So that's what it's a model of, and just looking back, there is a little bit of a farmlet on the other side there. Plenty to see. In fact, we're about to go over a bridge, so let's just do that. And the bridge has a little railway line, which I imagine toy railway goes around it on occasions. We're going over a bridge here, as the railway also does. It's obviously aerated, you can see the bubbles down there. And then of course a lovely little country train station, and a huge lake which the railway goes along, and of course an absolutely magnificently giant duck just in the background there. I would hate to come across a duck like that if this was real size, I can tell you. A little babbling brook down there, you probably can't see it in the shadows, but there we are. And my arm is already getting tired, so I might give it a break for now. There is a train, a model train, as I suspected, crossing the little stone bridge down there, and there are so many things to see at each corner. I'm not getting an opportunity to put the phone down. There's plenty of experiences. It's fantastic. Okay, but I will take a break. Here's some more village green, and in particular a castle. There we are, magnificent castle. And down the front, it looks, although I'm not an expert, it does look like they're having some sort of sheep herding festival of some description. Now this is apparently Braemar Castle in Scotland, at about 1/12 scale. Apparently the Earl of Mar raised the standard of the James Stuart and the Jacobite Revolution against the English throne. This was in 1715 from this castle. It's built in 1628, not this model of course, but the actual original castle, by the second Earl of Mar, and it was attacked and burnt in 1698 and rebuilt in 1748. So there we have it. That's Braemar Castle. And I also just want to take the opportunity, just in case the non-cricket fans might feel a little left out. Here's the other English sport, the soccer stadium. So there we have it. Don't want to leave anyone out, of course. We're about to go under the bridge, I think. So let's just head that way. Still not quite clear what direction we're supposed to go in, I think. Okay. So this is the picnic area and playground area. So we won't go in there just yet, but that is it. That's probably where we'll have our lunch. Beautiful little area by the looks of it. Okay, so we'll keep going around here. We'll come back and have lunch here presently. I'll just show you this little scene here. Lots of canals and things in England, and here's an example. This is apparently the God Manchester shops in Huntington, a group of shops located on the Great Ouse River in Roman times. Important settlement, crossroads between London and York, and Chester and Colchester. One of the earliest boroughs, receiving its charter in 1213. And apparently this is the birthplace of Oliver Cromwell in 1599. So its claim to fame is there. And we were very, very fortunate enough to be able to witness an episode of the duck that terrorised the Ferry Inn. About to be run over by a boat. Oh, look at that, causing all sorts of havoc, that duck. Destroying the boats and scaring all the people sitting outside the inn. So there we have it. And this, of course, is the famous Stonehenge in Wiltshire, southern England, with including some monks and someone taking a selfie. This is probably extremely common. And around the side here we have a golf course. Another very common practice in England, of course. And this leads up to an old mill and the famous canals that you can see all along England. Not that I've been there and seen them, but there we are. So that is apparently an old mill, and apparently they also like to do Star Wars recreation events. I think that's entirely made up. Someone's a bit too fond of Star Wars, I think. Anyway, scaling through here, we've got some locks on the canals. And over the other side we've got a maze of some description. I'm not sure what that was or is, and there's no signs for it, so interesting. But anyway, further on we've got some fox hunting, of course. So we'll just come in and have a bit of a look at the fox hunters there with their dogs and their horses. And then we have a magnificent tower of some description. I'm not quite sure what that is. We'll soon find out. We'll come around the side here. There's also a windmill, but no signs. Oh well. Very beautiful, even though I've got no idea what it actually is. If you look very carefully in this very dark forest, you shall see an animal that hasn't been seen for millions of years. Have a look at that. Dinosaurs, yes. Dinosaurs are roaming Cockington Green. Have a look at that. Ferocious creatures. Actually, the creatures are here because right next door is the National Dinosaur Museum. So I guess they're here to advertise that. But anyway, nice to see some dinosaurs. Obviously, England is old, but not quite old enough to have seen dinosaurs. But as this exhibition isn't just about England, of course, this way to the international area, international cities in miniature. So that's what we're going to explore now. by going through under this actually legitimate railway line. There's a passenger line. The trains aren't running today, but it's a little miniature ride-on. So apparently it's out for maintenance. I assume they'll reopen just after Christmas, one would think. Although I am surprised they're not open now because it's school holidays, but yeah, maybe everyone's busy with Christmas arrangements. And so here's the international section. We start off with St. Andrew's Church, which is in the Ukraine. And then we move on to South America. The High Commission for the Republic of South Africa have sponsored this exhibition. This is a typical South African Cape style building, built in the 17th century. Apparently this replica took more than 450 hours to reconstruct, so a lot of work involved. And of course here comes a couple of model trains passing through, and we certainly shouldn't neglect Indonesia and the border to a temple up there on the hill. And of course this sort of thing wouldn't be complete without entries from Norway, including, if I can go scoot through the back there, some mountaineers. Don't know if you can see those or not. And of course Croatia. This is the St. Mark's Church in Zagreb. Apologies for the pronunciations, by the way. The Merkel will be most disappointed with me. Okay, El Capitolio, Caracas, Bolivia. This building, better known as the Capitol, is for the Congress of Venezuela. So there you go. And again, we've got that train going in the background there. Following this on with Argentina, the Cockington building in Buenos Aires. The building comes from Cockington in Buenos Aires. It's the embassy of the Argentine Republic. And of course, lots of very multicoloured buildings, very typical of that area. And coming around, we've got Railway Superintendent's Cottage up there on the hill. It's South Australasia. Galway, in fact. Oh, there you go. And the train's just going past. So, yeah, so if we went up to Galway, apparently I would see that. I don't recall. But anyway, there you go. And of course, Australia, famous for its mining. So there is a model here. I think I can push some buttons. Let's see what they do. Just make some noises. The flag is waving. That's mechanised. So it's just sounds of explosions and things. So apparently this is up here. Just looking up there. There we go. That's actually the Wheelers' hut in the Kosciuszko National Park. So there we are. Doesn't have a date on it. That's okay. There it is. So this is definitely the Australian section, of course. And not quite sure what that is. Signs aren't that great, so still pretty impressive. All this building and all this effort. This is from Mauritius. The building is the Chateau Le Redouté up there. Again, another impressive building. And through the gap there you can see a lovely little waterfall and lake. And that's the other end of Argentina and New Zealand. Not often you see Argentina and New Zealand next to each other. This is Treaty House in Waitangi. We've actually been there, Mum, Dad and myself, when we did our cruise to New Zealand. Or I don't know if we went or we were thinking of going. Anyway, there it is in miniature. And of course, where this is from needs no introduction. Which is good because the sign's on the other side. If that's a sign, I'm not even sure there is a sign for it. Anyway, it's obviously Greek or Roman ruins. Here's that lake I was videoing through the trees a moment ago with the waterfalls, etc. Beautiful, sounds wonderful. Let me just stop for a moment, you can hear it hopefully. Okay, and this water is flowing from this magnificent ancient building in Mexico. This is a Tenochtitlan Aztec temple, if I'm saying that right. Certainly it's an Aztec temple. The physical and spiritual heart of the Aztec Empire. The god of rain apparently, and the god of war, which is rather interesting. And of course, talking about Aztecs and South America, here's a model of Machu Picchu. Obviously nowhere near as steep as the real thing. Yeah, so there you have it. And this is Chile. Casa Vega, apparently. I'm not familiar with that, but apparently that's what that is. Casa Vega, and of course the flag there. Not to mention a castle, which we'll get to in a minute, but before we do, there is a plaque for this model, and it's apparently the Triumphal Arch in Syria. Okay, so it was named by the Roman rulers in the 1st century, situated 210 kilometres northeast of Damascus, halfway between the Mediterranean and the Euphrates River, so obviously a fairly strategic area. I mentioned in the tablet dating back to the 19th century BC, but it was most prominent in the 3rd century, when a road through it became one of the main roads between east and west. Exactly what I suspected. Alright. This is mostly the back of some of the places we've already seen, but this is Slovakia. So this is the Chateau of Bojnice, apparently. Magnificent building. Too many rooms to clean for my liking, but they had servants to do all that, so I'll just catch a glimpse of the train going past. Then it will come around and do a loop and probably stop somewhere here. Second train is following it. While we're waiting for that to happen, let's just scan over Spain, and in particular Escena del I'm not going to have any chance saying that, but these are Spanish windmills basically. And Colombia as well. Publita Paisa, perhaps. Typical Colombian rural town apparently. So there you have it. Okay. And there's Andrew, who's well ahead of me now, in the background, just inspecting the railway lines, not surprisingly. Okay. So this is Masada. Oh, I have actually most definitely been to Masada, but it didn't look anything like this, of course. This is Masada pre the destruction of the Jewish people. So it's pretty impressive. Certainly this is also on a very high cliff face. So this is near the Dead Sea, of course. King Herod embellished it in the 1st century, and it was ended up, as I said, ended up being ruined after when the last Jewish inhabitants that committed mass suicide rather than surrender in AD 66 to 74 in their fight against the Romans. Okay, now we're back to village life, Hungary. So this is a village nestled in the valley, less than 100 kilometres from Budapest, apparently. Built in the old traditional building techniques. And on the other side, again, the train's going around. This is Turkey. What a magnificent spot this would be. Linda's Towers, apparently. Small island. Situated on a small island, constructed in 1719. Okay. The tower's been used as a prison, a quarantine hospital, and currently in service as a panoramic restaurant and tea lounge, not surprisingly. The building took approximately, this particular construction took approximately 1,100 hours. A lot of work involved. Magnificent. And again, some more waterfalls. It's a pretty hot day today, but made a bit more pleasant by the fact that there was plenty of water around. Now we'll just go to the top here. This is from the Philippines. Turigan Murano, apparently. Ancestral home of the Sultan or Dafu. Okay. And a bit up further. Oh, that's a bit of a struggle uphill here. Bangladesh National Parliament building. Okay. And there's a beach over there, but I won't worry about going there. But this is the Bangladesh National Parliament building. Interesting geometric construction for sure. And tucked away here is the Jibrin Fort, apparently, from Oman. Area. Yeah, so apparently forts are Oman's most cultural landmarks, form a large part of their heritage. And just a quick span across the park, it's quite large. It's taken me a while to get through. This video could actually be fairly long. So we're down here to India, of course. This is the Lahore Gate, what was known as the Red Fort. And coming down here, this is the front end of the Summer Palace, apparently, in Turkey. So we saw the other tower not too long ago. We're just going around in a loop now. Drapotap and Surgatap pagodas. Okay, in the Bulgaska temple. Okay. Located near Bulgaska temple and is one of the oldest astronomical observations. It was 647 AD. I can see another landmark I recognise around the corner, not this one. This is from Iran. This is the Palace of Darius. So there we have that. But this is one I recognise, and any Indiana Jones fans would probably recognise it as well. Of course, this is the treasury at Petra in Jordan. Very famous scenes of many movies have been shot there. And up the top of the hill there is the Cockington Castle in the Czech Republic. Again, sitting prominently there. up on the hill, and just coming around where the trains are constantly doing their loops. We're back to the beginning here with the Ukraine church, St Andrew's Church. Okay, so that's the loop of the International Pavilion. And finally, at Cockington Green, we have the Rose Room and Kiosk. A magnificent building, look at that, how wonderful is that? And also this lovely, peaceful bridge here with a bit of a pond sitting out the front. Very reminiscent of English village, no doubt. I say no doubt because, of course, I've never actually been to England. So Sam, if you're seeing this, just tell me, is this very much like an English village or not? Or am I got it completely wrong? Beautiful. It was quite a warm day today. Nice in the shade, but it's a beautiful little waterfall and pond. So let's see what's in the Rose Room. We're just going up this little... Went up the stairs there, but there's a ramp here, so that's good. Some toilets there, of course. And here we go into the Rose Room.
I've got the door for you.
Thank you.
It's all good.
It's a gift shop cafe, but we'll see. Hello, is there any particular reason why it's called the Rose Room?
Oh, so this is the cafe, so the Rose Room is in here, which is like a collection of teacups.
Okay, yeah. Right, I'll go and have a quick look. Thank you. Okay, so it wasn't roses, it was a collection of rose china, I assume. Teapot sets and all sorts of things. And of course, I'm not an expert on anything, but if there's anything I'm at least an expert on, it would have to be teapots. So I can't elucidate to you any further on some of these, but the signs say this one is the 1940s. Actually looks, that one there, 1940s, looks Art Deco to me. Yes, but as I said, I definitely wouldn't know much about too many of these things, but I guess they are pretty. But I won't shoot too much more in here. There's a little sort of apparently Chester Heritage City with some lovely flowers at the bottom, and more china of various periods. Okay, so I will say that's about it from here. The cottage itself is quite nice. There we are. Not quite what I expected. But anyway, back to the hotel, I think. Bit of a snooze in the afternoon. And then tomorrow we're off to the zoo.